Is my screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So in yesterday class, we completed about the list interface and its implementation classes, and already we did some programs on wrapper class objects. If I insert once you create a list object or linked list or vector or stack, we can insert a heterogeneous objects, and we already seen if I insert the wrapper class objects like integer or float or anything. We already seen that, and we seen some programs also, like how we can able to retrieve by using for each loop. That is what we seen in the study class. And today we are going to discuss how we can able to create a array list to create to to insert our own custom objects. So as I told, array list or linked list or vector or stack, so all the implementation or collection interface implementation classes will accept the all the objects, not only wrapper class objects, it also accept the our own user defined class objects. So let's say if I create the array list al equal to new array list. Now, this thing is not only array list, this thing is applicable for every implementation class of list, but I am showing the array list as example. So once you create the array list object, so now what I'm going to do is I'm creating my own class employee for creating the objects. So in that employee, I'm taking the two instance variables, emp id and emp name, emp id and emp name, and emp salary. emp salary. And for initializing the objects, while creating the object, if I want to initialize the values, I'm taking the constructor to initialize the objects, and I'm receiving the values from the object creation here. Once I receiving, I'm storing these values in current object. Now I have employee class. Now let's create the objects of employee class here, and I'm inserting the employee class object in the array list. By using add method of collection interface, we can insert the values to the array list. Now I'm inserting the employee objects. I'm creating the employee object. While creating the employee object, we have to pass the values to the constructor. So first we have to pass the employee ID and employee name and employee salary. Like that, we can also insert our own custom objects to the all the implementation class of list, not only array list. Now I inserted some employee class objects here like that. So now whenever I print the array list, what will happen? It prints the content of array list. So here the content of array list is nothing but objects. So here, so each object is going to be printed on the console. But here it prints the object. So by default it prints the address of this object. So whenever you print the array list, it prints the addresses of all the employee class objects. You can observe here, it prints the total array list with the all the employee objects addresses, because in the employee class there is no toString is overridden. By default it returns the address of each object. Now what I'm doing is, while printing the any employee object on the console, or then I'm overriding the toString method to print its content in the employee class. And here I'm returning the employee ID, name and salary in the string format. So current object lo unde emp id and space current object lo unde emp name and then space current object lo unde emp salary. So here, while printing any employee object, it just uses the toString method of employee class, and whatever the toString method returns, it prints that for every object. So for this object, so employee ID is 101, and for this object employee name is Vamsi, and for that object one employee salary is 1000. So like that it's going to be printed. So instead of printing its content in addresses, it prints the content in values, so that we can understand easily. So now this is how we can able to insert our own customized objects in all the collection implementation classes. So not only array list, same thing we can do with every implementation class of list interface. Example, list, I will link list, stack and vector. And once you inserted the values to the array list, this is how, and you can test all the remaining methods on the array list object. So we are using only add method, like that we can also test our own methods. And also we can traverse the array list, or we can also, I mean, traversing means we can iterate the every object using for each loop. Let's say, already I told, we can use for each loop for every implementation class of list. Now here I'm using the AL into each object I'm going to iterate, but here each object of array list is going to be written as an object format. So that's why we have to take a object type variable like O or something, or you can say that if I want a meaningful, I can say like employee. And then if I want to print this employee here like this, we'll get each employee. So from the AL, each employee is going to be, because in the AL all the employee objects are going to be inserted as a values. So each value is going to be written to this employee variable, and it must be a object format, because for each loop always returns the values from array list to a variable in the object format only. And it returns that each object, and it is going to be printed on the console. So each object is going to be printed, and while printing each object, it uses the toString method to print its content, object's content, right? So that is also we can use for each loop to iterate the each value from the array list. Not only array list, we can use for each loop for all implementation classes for iterating the all the values from the list of values, right? This is what for each loop we can say. Is it clear, right?
Yes, sir. Understood.
So now the next, once you created the array list and once you inserted, you can also perform some operations on the array list object. So like removing or updating the values or anything. So as I mean, we can test all the methods on all the methods of collection and list interface on this array list object. So now the next one I want to discuss with you here. So it is what we are discussed about list interface. Now the next one we have to discuss is cursors. So cursors is a one concept where we can use which is used for getting the each value from the collection. So if you want to get the each object one by one from the collection, then you can go for cursor concept. Sir, already manaki for each loop undi. This is the word for each loop, which is used to get the each object from the collection, and we can process. Like the same thing only, we can also do with cursors to get the each object from the collection. Not collection means here I mentioned the collection means all the implementation classes. Example list, I mean linked list, array list, or vector and stack. We can use the for each loop for all the collection classes and cursors for all collection classes to get the each object from the collection classes. Right. Now let's see how we can able to do this. So cursor is used for getting the each object, each and every object from the array list or any collection classes one by one. So to use the cursors, we have three cursors in Java. First cursor is enumeration. Enumeration. This cursor is used for getting the each value one by one. You can get the each value one by one from the legacy collection classes. Legacy collection classes. So it is not available, and this cursor is not available for modern classes. This collection, this enumeration cursor is only we can use it for legacy collection classes, that is the vector, because the vector is one of the legacy class you have to tell. So that's if you want to get each value or each object from the vector, you can go for enumeration. సో ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ ఎన్యూమరేషన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది ఎలా గెట్ చేసుకోవాలి అండ్ దాంట్లో వాల్యూస్ అనేది ఎలా గెట్ చేసుకోవాలి చూద్దాం. ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఎన్యూమరేషన్ అనేది ఇట్స్ వన్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్. ఇట్ ఈస్ వన్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్. ఆ ఇంటర్ఫేస్లో మనకి సమ్ మెథడ్స్ ఆర్ అవైలబుల్, దట్ ఈజ్ హ్యాస్ నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్, అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్. These are two methods are available in this interface. So we can use these two methods to iterate the each value from the legacy collection classes. So first has next element. It checks that the current cursor position is having the next element or not. If the next element is having, then it returns true. If the next element is not there, then it returns the false. And it returns the next element. So how it looks like. For example, మనకి collectionలో some values ఉన్నాయి 10, 20, 30. By default, the cursor always pointing to the first element. So cursor is currently cursor is like you can say it is a one pointer which points to some value. So first cursor is pointing to a first value of a list, and it currently pointing to this value, and it will check. This method checks is that element is there or not. If the element is there, then it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. So still element is there in that cursor position, right? So it returns true. And this method is will do, it returns this element itself. And ఇప్పుడు ఈ 10 return చేస్తుంది. Once it returns 10, it go cursor, this method will do is, it moves the cursor to the next element in the list. అంటే ఈ మెథడ్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఆ కరెంట్ కర్సర్ పొజిషన్లో ఉండే ఎలిమెంట్ని రిటర్న్ చేసి ఆ కర్సర్ని నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్కి మూవ్ చేస్తుంది. సో 20 ఇప్పుడు కర్సర్ పొజిషన్ 20 దగ్గరికి వచ్చింది. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు యాజ్ నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఆ కర్సర్ పొజిషన్ ఎక్కడైతే ఉందో ఎక్కడ ఎలిమెంట్ ఉందో లేదో చెక్ చేస్తుంది. ఎఫ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఈస్ దేర్, రైట్, దట్స్ వై ఇట్ రిటర్న్స్ ట్రూ. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు ఈ మెథడ్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, కరెంట్ కర్సర్ పొజిషన్ ఎక్కడైతే ఉందో ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ని రిటర్న్ చేస్తుంది, దట్ ఈస్ 20ని రిటర్న్ చేసి నెక్స్ట్ కర్సర్ పొజిషన్ని నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్కి మూవ్ చేస్తుంది. అండ్ అగైన్ కర్సర్ పొజిషన్ 30 కాడ ఉంది, హ్యాస్ నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ అనేది ట్రూ రిటర్న్ చేసింది, బికాస్ 30 అంటే కర్సర్ పొజిషన్లో ఎలిమెంట్ ఉంది కాబట్టి. నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ వచ్చేసి ఆ 30ని రిటర్న్ చేసి కర్సర్ అనేది నెక్స్ట్ పొజిషన్కి మూవ్ చేస్తుంది. నెక్స్ట్ పొజిషన్ మూవ్ చేసినప్పుడు హ్యాస్ నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ మెథడ్ అనేది ఫాల్స్ రిటర్న్ చేస్తుంది. దట్ మీన్స్ ద నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఈజ్ నాట్ దేర్. అంటే ప్రెసెంట్ కర్సర్ పొజిషన్ ఎక్కడైతే ఎలిమెంట్ పాయింట్అవుట్ చేస్తుందో ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ అనేది ప్రెసెంట్ లేదు. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇట్ రిటర్న్స్ ఫాల్స్ నౌ. So like that we can visit the every element from the list. Like we can check the element is there or not. If it is there, we can return that element and we can move to the next element. We can check whether that element is available in that current cursor position and we can move to the next element like that. So we can do this. We can get the each object from the list by using cursors, and one of that cursor is enumeration cursor.